Not a Nice Man to Know. The Best of Khushwant Singh. By Khushwant Singh. Read by Dev J. Haldar. To Sadia Delvi, who gave me more affection and notoriety than I deserved. Columns. Seeing oneself. The gods, in their wisdom, did not grant me the gift of seeing myself as others see me. They must have thought knowing what others thought of me might engender suicidal tendencies in me, and decided to let me stew in my own self-esteem. Now I am up against the formidable task of having to write about myself. It is a daunting assignment. Have you ever tried to look at yourself squarely in the eyes in your own mirror? Try it, and you will understand what I mean. Within a second or two, you will turn your gaze from your eyes to other features, as women do when they are making up or men do when they are shaving. Looking into the depths of one's own eyes reveals the naked truth. The naked truth about oneself can be very ugly. I know I am an ugly man. Physical ugliness has never bothered me or inhibited me from making overtures to the fairest of women. I am convinced that only empty-headed nymphomaniacs look out for handsome gigolos. They have no use for the likes of me. I have no use for the likes of them. My concern is not with my outward appearance, my untidy turban, unkempt beard, or my glazed look. I have been told that my eyes are those of a lustful badmash. But what lies behind the physical, the real me compounded of conflicting emotions like love and hate, general irritability and occasional equipoise, angry denunciation and tolerance of another's point of view, rigid adherence to self-prescribed regimen and accommodation of others' convenience, and so on. It is on these qualities that I will dwell in making an estimate of myself. First, I must dispose of the question which people often ask me: what do you think of yourself as a writer? Without appearing to wear the false cloak of humility, let me say quite honestly that I do not rate myself very highly. I can tell good writing from the not-so-good, the first-rate from the passable. I know that of the Indians or the Indian-born Niraj Chaudhary, V.S. Naipaul, Salman Rushdie, Amitav Ghosh and Vikram Seth handle the English language better than I. I also know I can, and have written as well as many of the others, R.K. Narayan, Mulk Raj Anand, Manohar Malgaonkar, Ruth Jhabwala, Nayantara Sehgal or Anita Desai. What is more, unlike most in the first or the second category, I have never laid claim to being a great writer. I regard self-praise to be the utmost form of vulgarity. Almost every Indian writer I have met is prone to laud his or her achievements. This is something I have never done, nor ever solicited awards or recognition, nor ever spread false stories of being considered for the Nobel Prize for Literature. The list of prominent Indians who spread such canards about themselves is formidable. Vatsyayan Agyeya, G.V. Desani, Dr. Gopal Singh Dardi, former governor of Goa, Kamla Das, and many others. Am I a likable man? I'm not sure. I do not have many friends because I do not set much store by friendship. I have found that friends, however nice and friendly they may be, demand more time than I am willing to spare. I get easily bored with people and would rather read a book or listen to music than converse with anyone for too long. I have had a few very close friends in my time. I am ashamed to admit that when some of them dropped me, instead of being upset, I felt relieved. And when some died, I cherished their memory more than I did their company when they were alive. I have the same attitude towards women whom I have liked or loved. It does not take much for me to get deeply emotional about women. Often at the very first meeting, I feel I have found the Helen I was seeking. And like Majnu sifting the sands of desert wastes, my quest for Leila was over. None of these infatuations lasted very long. At times, betrayal of trust hurt me deeply, but nothing left lasting scars on my psyche. The only lesson I learnt was that as soon as you sense the others cooling off, be the one to drop them. Dropping people gives you a sense of triumph. Being dropped, one of defeat, which leaves the ego wounded. I do not have the gift of friendship, nor the gift of loving or being loved. Hate is my stronger passion. Mercifully, it has never been directed against a community, but only against certain individuals. I hate with a passion unworthy of anyone who would like to describe himself as civilized. I try my best to ignore them, but they are like an aching tooth, which I am periodically compelled to feel with my tongue to assure myself that it still hurts. My hate goes beyond people I hate. I draw people who befriend them. My enemies' friends become my enemies. Hate does not always kill the man who hates, as is maintained by the sanctimonious. Unrepressed hate can often be a catharsis. Shakespeare would gnash his teeth with righteous hatred. You common cry of curs whose breath I hate, as reek o' the rotten fens whose loves I prize, as the dead carcasses of unburied men that do corrupt the air. Fortunately, there are not many people I hate. I could count them on the tips of the fingers of one hand, no more than 4 or 5. And if I told you why I hate them, you may agree that they deserve contempt and hatred. I hate name-droppers. I hate self-praisers. I hate arrogant men. I hate liars. Is there anything wrong in hating them? People ask me, why can't you ignore their existence? Now, that is something I cannot do. I cannot resist making fun of name-droppers, calling liars liars to their faces, and I love abusing the arrogant. I have been in trouble many times because of my inability to resist mocking these types. And since most name-droppers, self-praisers, and arrogant men go from success to success, become ministers, governors, and win awards they don't deserve, my anger often explodes into denouncing them in print. I have been dragged into courts and before the press council. This can be a terrible waste of time and money. I think I will have wax images of my pet hates and vent my spleen on them by sticking pins in their effigies. May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest their armpits. I'm not a nice man to know. Why am I an Indian? Why am I an Indian? I did not have any choice. I was born one. If the good Lord had consulted me on the subject, I might have chosen a country more affluent, less crowded, less censorious in matters of food and drink, unconcerned with personal equations and free of religious bigotry. Am I proud of being an Indian? I can't really answer this one. I can scarcely take credit for the achievement of my forefathers, and I have little to be proud of what they are doing today. On balance, I would say, no, I'm not proud of being an Indian. Why don't you get out and settle in some other country? Once again, I have very little choice. All the countries I might like to live in have restricted quotas for immigrants. Most of them are white and have a prejudice against colored people. In any case, I feel more relaxed and at home in India. I dislike many things in my country, mostly the government. I know the government is not the same thing as the country, but it never stops trying to appear in that garb. This is where I belong, and this is where I intend to live and die. Of course, I like going abroad. Living is easier, wine and food are better, women more forthcoming. It's more fun. However, I soon get tired of all those things and want to get back to my dung heap and be among my loud-mouthed, sweaty, smelly countrymen. I am like my kinsmen in Africa, in England, and elsewhere. My head tells me it's better to live abroad. My belly tells me it is more fulfilling to be in foreign. But my heart tells me, get back to India. Each time I return home and drive through the stench of bare-bottomed defecators that line the road from Santa Cruz Airport to the city, I ask myself, breathes here the man with soul so dead, who never to himself hath said, this is my own, my native land? I can scarcely breathe, but I yell, yeah, this is my native land. I don't like it, but I love it. Are you an Indian first and a Punjabi or Sikh second? Or is it the other way round? I don't like the way these questions are framed, and if I am denied my Punjabiness or my community tradition, I would refuse to call myself Indian. I am an Indian, Punjabi, and Sikh. And even so, I have a patriotic kinship with one who says I am Hindu, Muslim, and Haryanvi, or I am Indian, Mopla Muslim, and Malayali. I want to retain my religious and linguistic identity without making them exclusive in any way. I am convinced that our guaranteed diversity is our strength as a nation. As soon as you try to obliterate
Sample complete. Ready to continue?